one of the reasons I think that individuals don't take the kind of responsibility that you think they should for cybercrime is that it can appear to be a victimless crime. I get a communication from my credit card company asking if I was in Sofia, Bulgaria last week and if I purchased a load of pashmina scarves and Cartier watches. And when I say I haven't been in Sofia for 7 years, I'm instantly made whole by the credit card company, and the next day in the mail comes a replacement card. How am I individually victimized by such action?
Because the banks, who are the only sector of industry who keep a close track on how much money is being lost to cyber, they don't tell anyone, they don't tell the police, they don't tell, certainly don't tell the customers. The one other industry that they do tell is the insurance industry. And it's only in banking, but in no other sector, that there is any idea of how much money is being lost to cybercrime, and that is because of their relationship with the insurance industry, is they insure themselves against attacks. Now, in any other corporate sector, there is no secondary insurance market to protect yourself against being hacked. But it does work in the banking system. They get the money back from the insurance company. As the level of losses to cybercrime goes up, the insurance companies put up their premiums, and the banks, of course, don't like to pay for anything, they pass it on to us in the form of charges. And and I've looked at my charges on NatWest at home, the bank that I work with, and they have been going up at a staggering rate over the past 5 to 10 years, mainly the past 5 years. And that is because we are all paying for cybercrime. So it's, you know, it's not a victimless crime. It's particularly not a victimless crime. There was a case 2 years ago of a woman called Emma Wolf, who banked with Santander in London. This is only just being resolved. And Santander absolutely refused to accept that she had been a victim of cybercrime, even though she had never used her credit card and kept it locked up in a drawer in her house. And you know, her life was made a misery. They were for the next couple of years. And then police uncovered a fraud within Santander and discovered, purely by chance, that this fraudster had actually perpetrated the crime against Emma Wolf as well. And, you know, so it can sometimes turn very, very bad for you. There's one case which I have to tell you about, which is the case of a man named Roger Mildenhall, who was an Australian living in South Africa, whose case I researched when I was doing dark market. So at the end of, no, it was 2011. In 2011, in July 2011, he was an Australian living in South Africa. He got a call from a friend of his in Perth, which is where he was from, saying, "Roger, I can understand why you sold the first house, but why are you selling the second house?" Now, he had 2 houses in Perth, which were his pension. And his response to this was, "What do you mean I've sold the first house? I haven't sold either of the houses." And they said, "Well, yes, you did. You sold it 2 months ago." And what had happened is that his email account had been hacked into by a group from Nigeria, and they had found on his email account copies of the title deeds to his 2 houses. They had then sent these to a local real estate agent in Perth and instructed the real estate agent to put the first house on the market. It was then sold for $350,000, and the money was transferred to China from where it was laundered. Now, I mean, his life has been just a complete misery as a consequence of this. They managed to stop the sale of the second house, but even so. Who is responsible for investigating that crime? Is it the Nigerian police, because that's where the attackers came from? Is it the South African police, which is where he was when it happened? Is it the American police, because it was a .com email account, and so that comes under US jurisdiction? Is it the Australians, where the houses were? Or is it the Chinese, where the money was laundered? The answer is, of course, basically it's no one. Because when you're looking at something like internet crime and internet fraud, they have the global jurisdiction to commit the crime, but we remain restricted in law enforcement to local jurisdictions. The only slight exception to that is the United States, where the United States claims jurisdiction anywhere if dollars are involved in the transactions, or a company registered in the United States with a .com address is involved, which is why that email account was relevant. So if you're a victim of identity theft, it can be utterly destructive to your life.